Samyang has just announced their new 35mm F1.4 for E-mount. Let's go use it in the real world. While we look at some clips, I have a crazy pre-order deal to tell you about. If you want to get into wedding photography and you want to go full time, I have a 10-step solution to make that happen for you. And no, it's not $5,000 or even $1,000. It is $399, but if you pre-order it, you actually save $300 from that, which means it's only $99, which is crazy. As always, a 100% money back guarantee. The catch is that this deal is only available until December 31st, 2024. So pre-order it right now if you want that 10-step program to going full-time in wedding photography. Nothing to lose since there is a 100% money back guarantee. First up, let's watch Jason Vincent and Ben Heish do cell phone photos for families. Hope to tag them. And now we're back here. We're getting new floors. So my office has absorbed all of the things from outside the office now. I hope that you enjoy them. So Samyang sent me their new 35mm F1.4 to try out over the past month, and I have been really enjoying the experience. So I shot this lens at f1.4 for a lot of the samples that you're going to see within this video. I love the look at 1.4 and I love the autofocus areas. So Samyang has been a brand for a long time and they've been making some incredible lenses lately. I've used a lot of them here on the channel. And I've also said this on the channel before that I find the 35mm f1.4 to be the most useful lens. That if I could only bring one lens on a vacation or on a trip, it would be the 35mm f1.4. And if I could only bring one lens to a wedding day, it would probably be the 35 to 150, but a 35mm 1.4 would be a close second. Throughout the video, I'm going to show a bunch of examples, both in photography and video. If you're seeing the photography, there's a pretty good chance it's from the Sony A7CR. And if you're seeing the video, it could either be from this or it could be from the ZV-E, what's this thing called? Or it could be from the ZV-E1 Mark 1, I guess. I also have dynamic active stabilization set to on most of the time when you are on the camera that I'm recording this on. And overall, I was really impressed with this lens. Now the question is, who is the 35mm f1.4 a lens for? I think that it's a lens for myself as a wedding and portrait photographer. The Sony 35mm GM is my usual go-to, but this one is a heck of a lot less expensive. And I'm sure someone will do a side-by-side comparison at some point, but you're probably going to notice very few differences. Let's talk about the physical of this lens here. So first impressions, it's honestly a really nice feeling lens. I don't think that I use the ring at all. Autofocus in Sony cameras is so good that I'm never overriding to manual focus. And if I am, I'm just tapping the screen. There are no buttons or anything else on the lens. It is a very simple design. And if you do, so the one button that I do tend to use quite often on a lens is the autofocus / manual focus button. And you can just set one of your C buttons to do autofocus, manual focus if you are somebody that also uses that button pretty often. And the reason I am usually using that autofocus, manual focus button, maybe it's a couple of times a day, maybe not even a couple of times a day, but it's when I have a scene set up and I don't want the focus to move. So I set up the scene, I put whatever I want to be in focus, and then I switch it to manual focus, but you can just easily do that with a button as well. Side by side with the Sony GM, the Sony GM is a little chunkier, but it's a little smaller, actually. That surprises me. And overall, the weight, I would say is pretty similar. The Samyang is a little bit lighter, and it's obviously less expensive. But overall, I'm actually surprised with how similar in size these are. So you do lose out on some things over the GM version. You lose out on that physical aperture ring, as well as all the buttons on the side here and the click on and off. So if you want that seamless aperture, you don't get that on the Samyang, but you do save that money. With the lens, you do get this lens hood here, and fully completed, that is what the lens looks like. And on the front of this lens, it is a 67mm filter size. So hopefully, I would say that's a pretty common filter size, which is nice. So I'm happy that they kept it that way. Now we're going to go into some more advanced zooms and look at some of the images a little closer up. All right, let's have a look around some images. So this is an A7CR, and these images are at f1.4. And as you can see, a lot of really good details. So this is 61 megapixel photo, I believe. And all the way down to the bottom, super happy with it. This is a reflection from whatever's in front there. The detail in here, quite remarkable, I would say. Corner highlights looking all right. I'm also at 2000 ISO. Little halo, but I think that's actually from the cloud cover there. And overall, I'm going to go to a daytime image that I'm at a lower ISO, but overall, no complaints whatsoever. So here we are at f2. Let's zoom into full. Again, this is a straight out of camera JPEG. Overall, that sharpness is crazy nice. The distance a little hazy, but still lots of detail out there. I would be extremely hard pressed to tell this lens apart from my Sony GM that is much more expensive. So yeah, I would say overall, I am very impressed. Ben just hesitant. I can see it in his face. I think he'll be convinced now. But overall, excuse my extremely poor photography skills on top of the rock this evening, but I am really impressed with this lens. In terms of the color rendering and the overall accuracy of colors, I am very happy with it. All the video you're seeing is straight out of camera, but it is shot with a Cinetone profile. Actually, all the straight out of camera photos are as well, because I shoot my entire camera in Cinetone. So that means, because I do a lot of hybrid, and that means that when I just hit this record button, that I'm recording the video in Cinetone, whereas if you split up the profiles and you shoot regular for photography and Cinetone for video, you actually have to switch the photo to video button in order to enable that, I think. Maybe correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, and there's a way to do that so that when I hit this button in photo mode, that I will launch into video recording in Cinetone while using a different picture profile for photography. In terms of distortion and vignetting, I am happy with this lens overall. No real complaints. I actually kind of like to have a little bit more vignetting personally. The autofocus speed and performance, I am really happy with. There is a tiny noise, so it's barely even noticeable. I wouldn't even call it a noise, but I'll see if it even comes up on the microphone. You can kind of hear some glass moving around in there. I don't think even if you were running a shotgun microphone that it would come up on that shotgun mic. So no complaints for that, even if you're using it for video. Overall, I was never really struggling for anything to do with the autofocus, and I was very happy with it. So no problems at all in autofocus to report. So to break this down into my final thoughts, the pros and cons. The pros are that it's pretty much as good as the GM that I use all the time, and it is not nearly as expensive. The cons, if you do like those physical buttons, you're not going to find them on this lens. If you want a physical aperture ring, you're also not going to find that on this lens. But all things considered, this lens definitely keeps up, and it is a great buy if you're looking for a 35mm F1.4 lens, which I do recommend, at least if you shoot anything like me on wedding days, portrait shoots, travel. I find it incredibly valuable. Now, if you do want to get in on one of those pre-orders before they're gone, comes with so many bonuses. I actually just added more bonuses today. So you can get into that for $300 off, which is crazy. After January 1st, it is going to go up to $399 for just the course alone, and you do not get any of the bonuses. So get in now, get that pre-order. You get instant access to all the bonus content right now. So you can go right into my flash for wedding photographers and learn all about my on-camera and off-camera flash strategies. And then on January 1st, the official 10-step course will be out, but it's actually more than 10 steps, but they're smaller steps, so that it's smaller, but more steps.